Hey everybody, the Banga's here. Not doing Let's Plays for once, but seeing as how I got tagged by some guy by the name of Game Guy 3424, I thought I might as well give you some 5 interesting facts about me. To let you know some good information about the Banga in case you need to ask any questions someday. Okay, fact number 1. I actually started Let's Playing in September of 2008. But what actually got me started was I was working at my old job as a desk-side computer technician for some kind of brewery, and needless to say, because of interpersonal and technical skills, in other words, I sucked, even though I was working there for 8 months, I figured, you know what, I might as well start a new hobby while I look around for a new job, of course. And I think it was like 3 days or so after my last day, that's when I started Let's Playing. And some of the first Let's Players that I've watched during that time when I was working would be like the Seas Crab and Ultra J Man, so I studied their material carefully just so I could prepare myself for like how am I going to be able to interact one of these days when I start Let's Playing. Otherwise I'm just gonna sound like a total mess and nobody would want to subscribe to me. And yeah, that's pretty much what got me started here. Whoever thought that one thing come to an end starts to a whole new beginning. And as far as the consoles I had, like, I've had a lot of consoles in my lifetime, and of course it all started with the NES. I've actually had 2 NESs in my lifetime because I wore out the first one pretty bad for playing it so much. And I hate when the NES is like, when you try to pop in a game, you get this flashing screen with random colors, sometimes be green, sometimes white, or pink, or brown, and the game would not load. And sometimes when you get the game to load, it just would not work, it would cut out in the middle, and that made it hard as hell if you were playing like Legend of Zelda, which required a battery save file built in the console. I mean, built in the game cartridge, and oftentimes your save data would disappear, and I hated that, you know. So basically, there were times when I played Zelda, like I borrowed it from my best friend, of course. I had to like leave the console on the entire time, which pretty much led to its shelf life to seriously deplete. And I had this little secret when I play NES cartridges and it wouldn't work. Sometimes I would pop them in the freezer for a couple minutes, and believe it or not, you pop them in there when they're cold and it works. And I'd be able to get like a long time of gameplay doing that. And I found that really funny, even though the cartridge says do not put in extreme temperatures, but put it in the freezer, sometimes it'll work. I remember a couple years later after that I saw this box that a Super Nintendo was for me. I was like, holy shit, is that for me? Well, I actually didn't say holy shit because I was 6 or 7 years old at the time. But I remember playing Super Mario World a lot, and I enjoyed it. It was really fun to play. Like, I also had Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, which was not a good idea for me as my second game because one of the puzzles there was really complicated. I think I mentioned this in my 100 subscribers video. In case you didn't watch it, I'm just going to tell you about it again. There was this one puzzle that I was playing at 8 years old, had no idea how to figure out what to do. So I was killing time, like leveling up my character until he was at max level, which is 41 by the way. Which makes absolutely no sense, but then again, Super Mario RPG's max level is 30. So by the time I figured that out, which was like 4 years later, I was at max level and all the enemies were just easy as shit. Then the game got boring and I was like disappointed in myself. Like, why couldn't I figure this out 4 years ago? This game would have been more of a challenge to me. But no, enough about that. And I got a Game Boy one year for my birthday, and of course Kirby's Dream Land was the first game I played, and I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of Kirby games at the time, like Kirby's Dream Land 2, Kirby's Pinball Land, and didn't have a lot of love for Kirby's Pinball Land because I was not a fan of pinball games where sometimes I had no chance of winning. I hated games like that, so. But I did love Wario Land 1, which I played on that a lot. It was a really good game. I liked it, you know. And I remember getting a Nintendo 64 one year for Christmas, coming with Banjo-Kazooie. Well, the game did not come with the console. It was two separate purchases. And I loved playing Banjo-Kazooie at the time. Like, it was really a lot of fun. Like, of course I found Super Mario World just a little bit more fun. Well, not really. I thought Banjo-Kazooie was more fun than Super Mario 64. Though either way, I enjoyed playing both of them. My favorite N64 of all time was definitely GoldenEye, because I remember being a teenager playing that game in the youth center a lot, like GoldenEye, especially multiplayer. That was the best time of my life because most of the people there, I could kick their asses easily, and it was just a lot of fun. And I wanted a GameCube a few years later, but seeing as that was a bit expensive, I decided to sell some of my NES, Super Nintendo, Game Boy, and Nintendo 64 games just to make enough money to get a GameCube. And I thought that was really fun, and I really enjoyed playing with the GameCube. I'm not like most people who don't take care of their games, and I definitely do take care of my games. Don't worry, I'm that kind of a person. And I also had like a PlayStation 2, which doesn't even fit the fold because I usually bought Nintendo consoles. But hey, PS2 was on a really good deal, and the first game I got for that was God of War. And that was a lot of fun. Good thing I had the PlayStation in my room at the time, because if my mom saw me, like, you know, with those naked chicks near the beginning of the game, I think she would have regretted getting me a PS2 or that game in general. But I don't care, I found it a lot of fun. And for my college graduation, I got a Nintendo Wii for a gift, and we actually had to hop to multiple stores just to find one because they were all sold out, but we found one at Zellers, and I think it was around 200 odd plus tax, so which equaled up to $300. But my mom won bingo and got over $400 for it, so that's where my graduation money got through a game of bingo. And while I was working at my old job, I said, you know, I'm going to save up some money and buy myself a Nintendo DS, which I did, and I only got like 4 games for it, like Pokemon Diamond, Castlevania Order of Ecclesia, Chrono Trigger DS, and my newest one, Sonic Chronicles Dark Brotherhood. I've been meaning to look for Dragon Quest V, but it's hard to look for, so I'll try again another time, and I'm in no rush to get it, so that's pretty much like all the consoles and the main games that were important to me. And fact number 3 is I haven't had a good love life lately. I've had lots of crushes in high school. One of them was with one of my best friends, and needless to say, she felt that, you know, it wasn't a good idea to take our friendship to that kind of level. And at that time, I didn't agree with her, but now that you mention it, it made a lot of sense to where she was going at. Like, I totally understand her feelings. Like, it took me years to realize that, but I guess I was just in denial because I really wanted it to work out, and I really felt for her. And I guess that's just the way the character dealt, and I've had other crushes too, but some were either just friends or just didn't see me as that kind of guy. I mean, I've had some dates here in the big city, like a lot of first dates, but never a second date. I don't know why. I guess I'm disappointed in that, but oh well. There's other fish in the sea. I just gotta cast my line out a little bit more. Hopefully someone will sink their teeth into my worm. But don't get the wrong idea. Like, I just hope I hook someone's heart. You know what I mean? Yeah, so yeah, I'm a single swinging bachelor after all.